So let's talk about the Washington Wizards, what they're gonna do for next season, and everything in general. The Washington Wizards are a team which recently have undergone a complete turnaround of their franchise. They're a team which was originally stuck in purgatory, right? And what we're talking about is with Bradley Beal. The Washington Wizards have been a franchise which started off around in the early 2010s. They were a franchise which had never had much success. They were coming off of Gilbert Arenas and him being their franchise player but failing to be healthy, so having to trade him. They were really stuck in purgatory of we don't know what we're gonna do. And then quickly came John Wall, which was the life altering piece which just changed the Wizards for the rest of the 2010s. John Wall was picked first. He was phenomenal. He was a franchise player. He was a playmaking point guard who could also slash to the rim. And he was one of these guys where it was like, yo, this dude is good. Let's try to put a team around him so that he wins us the championship. And they tried, but really it never worked. You know, they were really good at one point, and this kept going. You know, where it was like, oh, okay, we have John Wall, we feel pretty confident in ourselves, and then it became a thing of like, let's put pieces around them, right? Until 2017, where it really became apparent that as hard as they tried, it was going to be very difficult for them to win anything in the East. With LeBron James being as dominant as he was at that point. So, the Washington Wizards had built this empire just for it to be taken down due to one player and one unstoppable force. But let's talk about that. So after they got John Wall, they spent a couple of years building around him until in their draft they got Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal was the guy to. He's a shooting guard, which was a shooting guard, which could stretch the floor, create his own shot, and be effective by himself, right? Like make his own and create his own looks. This was perfect next to John Wall because even though Bradley Beal could make his own looks, he was also very good. He could dunk, he could shoot, catch and shoot. And basically Bradley Beal came into the league with this header of a point guard in John Wall, which was just looking to make his life easier while Bradley Beal was trying to make his life easier. This continued and it caused a really good relationship to form between them as they liked each other, they liked playing with each other, and then it came to a point where they both got really big contracts and it caused both of them to have this moment where they were two of the best players in the world individually. You know, by the time that Bradley Beal was an all-star, John Wall was well out the door because John Wall had gotten into some problems and some injuries which really have changed the entire course of his career as he got injured in 2019, and after that the Wizards really did him dirty as they looked for him to play, and after tearing his Achilles, he had infection and he had a left heel injury, and he basically became like unplayable for like a year or two. Like what happened to Klay Thompson, where it was like you cannot play. And then in that same 2019 season, that's where Bradley Beal really broke out into being a top player in the league. When in John Wall's absence, he averaged 25 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and he did it on career numbers with good efficiency. And this is when Bradley Beal broke out. This was his coming out party. This was when people were like, okay, this kid is not just, John Wall's second option. This kid is a real star of his own. And then that kept going. He averaged 30 points per game twice because of Russell Westbrook and his playmaking. And then we got to the 2023 Wizards. The 2023 Wizards were a mess. They were Bradley Beal, Kristaps Porzingis, Kyle Kuzma, which they traded for in exchange of Russell Westbrook. And the 2023 Wizards were basically just a fever dream. They were a team assembled to make no type of run, but they were just convincing enough to the point where you might believe that they could do something in the regular season. The Washington Wizards quickly realized that with the team that they had, they were not going to be good enough to make the playoffs, but they were not going to be bad enough to get a top 3 pick. So the Wizards decided, you know what, it's time. And Bradley Beal asked for a trade. Now, Bradley Beal in his contract had a no-trade clause, which meant that he could go anywhere he wanted, right? And he could tell the team where he wanted to go and decline and decline certain places if he didn't want to be there. So if the Wizards wanted to send him to Miami and he didn't want to be in Miami, he could have literally said, no, I do not want to be in Miami, and that would have had to be final. So this happened. He got traded to Phoenix, and now he formed the super team. And for the Wizards, they did something very smart. They traded him to Phoenix for Chris Paul, and then they traded Chris Paul for Jordan Poole for the Warriors. And this now has put the Wizards in a great position where they have Jordan Poole, they have a young star, they have someone to be there to put up numbers, to go wild. And in my opinion, this is the best case scenario for Jordan Poole. The Wizards are a team which is bad, right? They have no sense of winning right now. They are not a team which is looking to win many games. And the fact that they have a young star who just gets to develop himself and do whatever he wants, get full creative and, and skill oriented control of the basketball game every single night causes the Wizards to have a young, fun star which they can rely on. It's the same thing like when Mikal Bridges went to Brooklyn, where it was like he was so locked up in playing with the system before, but now he just gets to spread his wings and play however he wants. And that's to the benefit of Jordan Poole, as he now gets to show who he really is, make all-star teams, and run a franchise by himself. This is phenomenal for both of them. The Wizards are not going to lose attention because their fans will have someone to root for, and that's always good. It's always good for a team to at least have one guy who the fans can go to the games and just be marveled at. You see, even the bad teams like the Rockets have Jalen Green. The Pistons don't really have that guy. Kate is not that exciting. But it's like the Spurs are going to have Wembanyama, and et cetera, et cetera. In my opinion, the Wizards have come to a good place. They've come to a place of where they realized that pushing it to the limit was not enough, and they said, you know what we're going to do is be the smarter people, trade everything, send everything away, as they got Tyus Jones back for Kristaps Porzingis, and they've been in many trades. And they were like, we're just going to keep Kyle Kuzma, which is a young star, which they just gave a lot of money to. And we're going to keep Jordan Poole. And we're just going to ride off into the sunset, keep a fun, young team. And we're not going to lose anything because we get assets back. And if everything else fails, we trade Jordan Poole for a few first-round picks to a team. and we trade Kyle Kuzma too. I like the Wizards, and I like what they're doing, and I like their trajectory, and I like that they rebuilt themselves again.